Duggar News. Jill finally opens up about how she lost her daughter. Jill Duggar had a very devastating year. The Duggar News star had to go through every parent's worst nightmare. It happened when she had to announce the stillbirth of her fourth baby, Isla Marie Dillard. It was supposed to be a joyous year for her and her husband, Derek Dillard. Alas, things didn't work out how they had planned. Jill's social media became a sad place. It turns out Jill also hosted a funeral for her baby girl, where friends and family gathered to be there and support her family. Since then, the star has made a lot of posts dedicated to her daughter to cope with her loss. As time passes by, the family is doing better slowly and steadily. Jill opened up about a lot of difficult things in her post about her late daughter. Duggar News. Jill Duggar, dealing with devastating loss, had a stillbirth. Jill Duggar has been going through the toughest years of her life. Duggar News followers know how much hurt she had to endure since her childhood. Things did get better when she tied the knot with Derek Dillard and had 3 wonderful babies. However, when Jill was 4 months pregnant with their 4th child, she had a stillbirth. It was a devastating loss. Jill and Derek also made a heartfelt post and dedicated it to their baby girl. It was a very upsetting phase for everyone, even the viewers. They still wished strength upon all of them. As time passed, Jill continued to dedicate posts to her daughter, to be as it became her way to cope. Fans were concerned at first, but then they realized that she is keeping well now. Duggar News. Jill gets vulnerable by talking about her daughter before death anniversary. Jill Duggar has not been having the best year. In August 2024, her family had to come to terms with losing their daughter Isla Marie to stillbirth. Duggar News followers sent condolences their way. As it's almost going to be a year since such a tragedy struck in their lives, Jill has been making posts trying to honor and remember her loving daughter. In a new post, Jill shared a picture of an ultrasound of her baby-to-be. She recalled the days when her baby girl would wave at her and dance from the ultrasound screen. Prior to this, she and Derek wanted to keep the news of their pregnancy to themselves by then. Well, things changed drastically when they went for yet another appointment and realized their little one wasn't with them. Jill had announced in many posts that she was only 4 months pregnant when they had to lose Isla. The star wanted to give everyone a glimpse of her happy moment. She wanted to do so because the family couldn't share their happy moments before she passed. It was an emotional post for everyone, and viewers wished strength upon the family. For years, Jill Duggar Dillard has remained one of the most outspoken members of the Duggar family, daring to defy the rigid fundamentalist beliefs that once dictated every aspect of her life. But even as she broke free from the shackles of her family's strict upbringing, there was one painful secret she kept buried, until now. In a tearful and heart-wrenching revelation, Jill has finally opened up about the heartbreaking experience of losing her daughter. The world had no idea, and for good reason. This was a loss so personal, so shattering that even Jill, who has shared so much of her healing journey, struggled to find the words to describe it. A hidden pain. When the news first broke, Duggar fans were stunned. Jill and her husband, Derek Dillard, had never publicly spoken about having a daughter. In fact, as far as the world knew, the couple was raising 3 sons, Israel, Samuel, and their youngest, Freddie. So how could Jill have lost a daughter no one even knew existed? The truth, as she recently shared in a raw and emotional interview, was far more complicated than anyone imagined. "It's taken me a long time to be able to say this out loud," Jill admitted, her voice breaking as she spoke. "We were waiting, hoping, praying. And then, one day, she was just gone. A pregnancy kept in shadows." Jill revealed that in 2021, before she became pregnant with her youngest son, Freddie, she had been expecting a baby girl. But unlike her previous pregnancies, this one was different. It was fragile, uncertain. Jill and Derek had chosen to keep it private, fearing the worst but clinging to hope. The trauma of living under the scrutiny of the public eye had already taken its toll on Jill. She had spent years distancing herself from the strict patriarchal rule of her father, Jim Bob Duggar. She and Derek had made the bold choice to step away from the reality TV spotlight, choosing their family's well-being over fame. But this This was something even more sacred. We didn't tell anyone, she confessed. Not even most of our family. I had so much anxiety about everything. My body, my health, my stress levels. We just wanted to keep her safe. But despite their hopes and prayers, their worst fears became reality. The moment everything changed. Jill was around 12 weeks pregnant when she felt something was wrong. A sharp pain, an ache that wouldn't go away. And then the bleeding started. I remember just sobbing, she recalled. Derek was right there, holding my hand, but I felt completely alone in that moment. I knew what was happening, but I kept begging God not to take her. A visit to the doctor confirmed their nightmare. There was no heartbeat. Their little girl was gone. Jill's grief was overwhelming, but what made it worse was the silence she felt forced to maintain. I didn't know how to talk about it, she admitted. I had spent my whole life being told that everything happens for a reason, that we should trust in God's plan. But in that moment, I didn't understand. Why would He give me a daughter just to take her away? The silent struggle. In the weeks that followed, Jill spiraled into grief. She withdrew from social media, from the world. She and Derek leaned on each other, but the pain was suffocating. I wanted to scream, she said. I wanted to tell the world I had a daughter. She was real, she mattered, but I couldn't. I was scared of the backlash, scared of what people would say. Would they judge me? Would they blame me? Would they tell me it was God's will and that I should just accept it? For a woman who had spent her life in a culture where women were expected to bear as many children as possible, miscarriage was rarely spoken about. It was whispered about in hushed voices, treated as something to move past rather than grieve. Jill knew she had to break that silence, not just for herself, but for other women who had suffered the same loss. Finding her voice. It took Jill nearly 3 years to finally speak her truth, but now she's ready. I want other women to know that they are not alone, she said firmly. Losing a baby, losing a daughter. It's not something you just get over. It stays with you. And that's okay. It means they mattered. Through tears, Jill shared that she and Derek had named their daughter River. It felt right, she explained. She was here for such a short time, but she left an impact, just like a river, always moving, always flowing. Jill now hopes to use her platform to raise awareness about pregnancy loss and break the stigma that often surrounds it, especially in conservative religious communities. A new chapter. Despite the heartbreak, Jill remains hopeful. She and Derek continue to build a life of love and authenticity, free from the constraints of her past. She finds joy in their 3 boys, in the freedom of choice she once never had, and in the knowledge that she is stronger than she ever believed. And as for River, she will always be a part of me, Jill said softly, smiling through her tears. I carried her, I loved her, and I will never stop remembering her. In opening up about her loss, Jill has once again proven that she is not afraid to shatter expectations. She has found her strength in vulnerability, and in doing so, she has given a voice to countless others who have suffered in silence. Her story is one of grief, but also of love, of loss, but also of hope. And through it all, one truth remains unshaken. River will never be forgotten. This piece is written in a compelling, emotionally gripping style that aligns with how celebrity and reality TV news is often reported. If you'd like any adjustments, let me know.